This is Earle Clements on hand with what I'm sure will be an interesting and entertaining report from Washington. The subject today is agricultural research. And we have with us one who can tell us about the amazing advancement that's been made in agricultural research. We have Frank Tutont, who is the real expert in the Department of Agriculture in these United States. And I'm glad that Frank is here to tell us not all he knows, but many of the interesting things that he can give us in this field.
Well, thank you, Senator. I used to know you back in Kentucky when we called you Earle.
That's correct, but I'll tell you, I wasn't thinking that you would admit that you would go back as many years as I went back.
I'm sorry, but there it is. I can't hide it.
Well, the same thing's coming to me, too.
Well, it certainly is a pleasure to be here with you and the good people of Kentucky and to talk about what research is done to help Kentuckians as well as people everywhere else. When you and I were boys, when you were playing center on the university football team, and I was going through my honeymoon at Lexington, we had a lot of soap grease in that country. You remember the days when we had ash hoppers and soap grease?
I not only remember those days, but I want to tell you that I remember some of the things that you and I did, and it wasn't on a honeymoon either.
Well, I think we better hold that. The soap grease is now piling up in surplus. These inedible animal fats that used to go into soap grease now are surplus on the farms of the country because we're using detergents. So research has worked out some uses for this inedible animal fat. Now there's an apron, Senator. I wouldn't want to put that on you before the Kentucky ladies here today, but then...
You wouldn't?
Well, fine, thank you. You're just as game as you used to be.
I want to tell you that I'd be at home with this in a house, too.
That's right, you would. That is made from this inedible animal fat, that old soap grease that we used to use and it is now surplus. Here is a water hose that is made of it, too. Here's a piece of floor tile that is made of that same material. But wait a minute, Senator. Here is a young lady that is wearing a raincoat that's made of this material. That is what we call a hog lard or a beef tallow raincoat.
You mean you let me feel of the raincoat,
Yes,
too?
indeed. Just as long as you feel of the raincoat, that's perfectly all right. Now, you ladies from Kentucky, look at this raincoat. You turn around there and take a peep at it. That's just one of the things, Senator, that research has done. We have a lot of this surplus stuff. It's piling up on us. At the beginning of this year, we had about 1 billion pounds of this stinky stuff in surplus. We believe that by the end of this year, we will have found a use for something like 300 million pounds in some of these things that you have just seen here. Now, here is an orange. That's familiar to all the people in Kentucky. It used to be a Christmas luxury because it required cool weather for shipment. But the frozen orange concentrate, which agricultural research gave us, gives us orange juice the year round now for the men and women of the country. That requires refrigeration. Now here is the newest thing. This is an orange juice powder. That requires no refrigeration. It is in commercial production now for the armed forces and will be for civilians, we hope, before long. They were calling it orange crystals, and they're going to make a grapefruit crystal out of it, too.
Frank, what do you do? Just add water for juice?
Just add water to it. Now, down in Kentucky, you raise a lot of livestock. There is a disease known as brucellosis that is troublesome to both dairy herds and beef.
Yes, my friend, we just had a little fight in the Congress over a continued appropriation for brucellosis just a short time
and
back.
I'm glad to know that you have supported this research work. Being a farmer, you have a beef cattle herd of your own, don't you?
That's correct. I'm a modest raiser of beef cattle, and you were about to ask me what breed. I'll tell you, it's my herd is a shorthorn herd.
Fine, but you have brucellosis in shorthorns as well as in dairy herds and all of it. This vaccine prevents it. There's no cure for it, you know, after it gets into the herd. But I'm glad to say that you and other foresighted members of Congress supported this.
Good in calfhood.
And we are wiping it out of the herds of the country. Now, another thing is that you produce a lot of milk in Kentucky, too.
That is correct.
Milk is used for a great many things. One of the finest, of course, is food. But we use milk in making byproducts. Here is an automobile air filter. this red contraption here. And the filtering agent in that automobile carburetor air filter is made from milk casein, a byproduct of milk. Now, about $12 or $15 million worth of milk sugar is used in making penicillin.
What you're doing, you're just taking the real byproduct of milk, and you're making it into some useful product.
Right. We're finding use for it. Here is what is known as a blood plasma substitute. There's no substitute for whole blood. But thanks to agricultural research, we have a substitute for blood plasma, and this is it. And it is in commercial production, in use in your hospitals in Louisville and Lexington and other big cities all over the country. And what do you suppose it's made from? The same sugar that people put in their coffee. Table sugar, cane sugar, or beet sugar.
What it's done, it has been the means of saving many lives, not only in your state and mine, but all over the world.
And when you go to bed at night, you can pull the covers up around your face and say, well, thank goodness I have voted for measures that have helped save the lives of thousands of people in this work on penicillin and blood plasma substitute and other things. But now,
Frank, maybe I shouldn't admit it to some of the economy-minded people, but I've always been on that side that thought we appropriated too little money for research, and I still think we're appropriating too little money for research.
Thank you. There's never any controversy about the good that comes from research, agricultural research.
You've already mentioned enough things here today that has paid for all the research, the funds for research that have been appropriated by the Congress.
That's right. Let's bring a young lady in here for you women folks. You've been very patient in watching us. Here is a young lady senator that is wearing a new fiber called Ramie, R-A-M-I-E, Ramie. Step out there so the ladies from Kentucky can take a look at that. That is China grass produced in Florida. Never will run cotton or wool off of the market, but by blending of wool or cotton with it, you get a very fine, soft product that wears very well.
So you get an improved product.
Yes, you do. Now let's take a little tobacco. You grow a lot of tobacco in Kentucky, and we saved this hand of tobacco and brought it in here because we wanted you folks, as well as the senators, to see about this. This material is called rutin, R-U-T-I-N, rutin. That's good for some types of high blood pressure. And it was made from tobacco.
Made from tobacco.
Yes, we can make it from buckwheat, we can make it from a number of other things, but we started making it from tobacco. Now, this has restored the eyesight of some people. It has helped a great many other people. You know Senator Dirksen here in the Senate.
I know him very well.
You might ask him sometime about what rutin did for him.
Frank, I have heard that story from Everett Dirksen. I was in the House with Everett.
Yes.
And as you recall, he left the House on account of his eye trouble and did not expect to come back into public life.
Yes.
But through that product, Everett Dirksen later came back to the Senate, and today his eyesight is unusually good. And I was with him in Southeast Asia last year on a trip over there, on a mission for the Committee on Appropriations. And I want to tell you, he didn't miss a thing on that trip.
Good. Now you have potatoes in Kentucky, and you have potato chips. But, Senator, I wonder if you or you folks that are with us have ever heard of parsnip chips or lima bean chips.
I can assure you that I haven't.
Well, it's just a peep around the corner. It's something that's coming. Now then, we have other things. We have corn here. Of course, Kentucky raises some mighty fine corn. That's a hybrid corn, preserved in plastic so you can study it in school. Weevils can't get to it, the dust can't get to it, it looks pretty. And hybrid corn has done a wonderful thing for this country. Now let me show you something. Here comes a young lady that is wearing a dress that is made of corn fiber. And she's also carrying a coat that is made of this corn fiber. Now, that is made from the protein that is discarded in the manufacture of corn starch.
I want people in Kentucky to see that.
This makes a very
beautiful garment.
Very beautiful fabric when it is blended with a little bit of wool. We just wanted you to see it. We've also found use in making corn cobs, taking corn cobs. That's a waste product. We developed a method for extracting furfural.
Would it be fair to say that that used to be a waste product?
Yes, it used to be. Now it is used in making nylon. Nylon now comes back. Also, you raised chickens in Kentucky. We were able
Frank, If I may go back to the corn cob, is
Yes.
it not fair to say to our listeners that the real experiment in the use of the corn cob, there was a great contribution made to it through the Department of Agriculture?
That's right. That's right. These are chicken feathers, another waste product, as wasted as much as the corn cob. Now we have a use for them. First, we made a fiber.
They don't look like chicken feathers.
No, that's a fiber. And we made a paintbrush. And then we made a fertilizer. And when we made the fertilizer, we still didn't like it too well, so we made the latest thing, which is chicken feed from chicken feathers. We raise the chicken, take the feathers, make the fertilizer, feed it back to young chickens to grow more feathers to make more chicken.
You mean that's the product that they eat to start that process over again?
That is right. Almost like perpetual motion, isn't it? Now then, here is a young lady that I want our women folks to see. She's wearing a wrinkle-resistant cotton dress.
I can tell when they get to Gleason's it's ours.
That's right. This is a wrinkle-resistant. Step out there and show our Kentucky friends what that looks like. You can wad that up and put it in a handbag, carry it overnight.
Beautiful
designed on Fifth Avenue by a famous
garment.
designer and sent down here for us to use. And now then, here comes another one of those wrinkle-resistant dresses. This is what we call a formal. The ladies know what we're talking about, of course. These are all our own agricultural girls that act as secretaries and clerical help administrators.
And models.
Models, that's right. Now step out there and show those Kentucky ladies what these newest things in wrinkle-resistant clothes look like. That's wonderful material.
It sure is.
Just plain old cotton, but with the wrinkle resistance into it. Shotgun shells. You go hunting some in Kentucky yet.
Sure, you don't mean to tell me that you've got some new way to making the...
Over half of the shotgun
shell.
shells made in this country are made with soybean glue. And you raise a lot of soybeans in Kentucky. It keeps the water
Soybean
out.
is a very important crop in our state.
Yeah. Over in Warren County, where I went to school, they raised some very fine strawberries. I guess they still raise them over there.
It'd be interesting to you to know, Frank, that some of the eastern Kentucky hill counties today are going into strawberries where some years ago they were in tobacco until it was necessary to curtail acreage.
Well, that's good. Well,
and of course they still raise them around in the purchase section of our state,
oh,
too.
yes, and you have better strawberries today because we've got disease-resistant varieties. There are a great many other things that are coming along, and I wish we had time to tell you about more of the things that we have on the table, which is just a small part of the things that we have. But our time is up. It's been a pleasure to be with you and with the good people of Kentucky once again, and good luck to you,
Frank,
Senator.
it's been fine to have been with you and an old schoolmate.
Yes,
who's
sir.
done a fine job in this field. This is Earle Clements saying goodbye from a very amazing observation that we've had here today on what has been done in agricultural research in our country.